You should always stay within federal guidelines when recovering refrigerant from a sealed system. This program does not cover those guidelines, so if unfamiliar with them, please take the time to review them. Recovering refrigerant with a pump requires tapping into only the low-pressure or evaporator side of the system. A variety of approved pumps are available and differ in their use from model to model, so it's a good idea to review the manufacturer's guidelines for the pump you're using. After tapping into the system and making all the appropriate connections, open the line tap service valve. Start the pump and then open the valve for the waste tank. Most domestic refrigerators hold only 3 to 7 ounces of refrigerant and take about 5 minutes with a good recovery pump to recover the refrigerant from the system. If you are using a recovery pump and tank, you'll need to get a sample of oil out of the old compressor to see if the system has been contaminated. The procedure for recovering with just a bag depends upon whether or not the compressor is functioning properly. If the compressor is functioning properly, you'll use it to draw refrigerant from the low side and push it out of the system on the high side. Tap into the high side at the dryer, where the refrigerant should be mostly in liquid form, making for a better recovery. Connect a hose from the service valve to the bag and open the valve. Start the refrigerator and let the compressor run. It will draw all of the refrigerant from the low side and pump it out the high side. It's very important to understand that recovery bags are designed to hold a specific amount of refrigerant. The bags are large in volume so that when gravity feeding refrigerant from a system with a dead compressor, the bags will accept all of the refrigerant from the system. While the bags may appear to be able to hold more than their specified capacity, you must never exceed that capacity. Doing so by as little as 2 ounces will usually rupture the bag. Let the compressor run for at least 10 minutes. As refrigerant travels into the bag, there's a certain amount of compressor oil that travels with it. This is a great opportunity to look at that oil and get an idea as to the condition of the system. As oil starts to overheat, it will begin breaking down and turn to a real dark brown color. Look around the service valve. If you see dark oil instead of clear, then you probably have a contaminated system. This system of recovery works quite well as long as you have a good functioning compressor to work with. If you're using the recovery bag and do not have a functioning compressor, you will have to tap into both sides and let gravity drain the system. Once you've made the connections, open both service valves and then the manifold. It'll take at least 15 minutes to gravity feed refrigerant out of a system. You should see a slight raising of the bag as the refrigerant goes into it. Look around the service valve and in the recovery bag. If you see dark oil instead of clear, then you probably have a contaminated system. When using a recovery bag, you'll still have to pump the contents into a waste tank when you return to the shop. Hook the bag up to the pump just as you would if you were recovering with a pump to a tank. Turn on the pump, then open the valve.